And good afternoon. Welcome to Ask Nancy, my live stream that I do every couple of weeks to field any and all of your questions about communication, knots, fear-based thinking, limiting beliefs, any and all of the above. We're here to kind of tackle those topics today. Sometimes I have guests. Today I don't. I'm flying solo because I want to talk about it's a gym closed day. It's just one of those days. You know how it goes, right? Sometimes you're a little more prepared than others. But the last newsletter that I sent out, and if you're not a subscriber, you wanna subscribe so you get my bi-weekly newsletter that's got all sorts of information about how to run your team, how to be a better leader, how to communicate, how to navigate stuff. So if you're not a subscriber, please go to my website and subscribe. My last newsletter, I talked about delegation. Are you a doer or a delegator? And I wanted to build on that today because I think it's a really important topic and sometimes a little bit misunderstood. So delegating, doesn't mean just passing the baton on things you don't like to do. It means as a leader, strategically passing along responsibility, decision-making tasks. I have a story about that very thing that I think will be resonant. A couple of years ago, I was early, I launched my business, my consultancy about 6 years ago. Early on, as many business owners may tend to do, I did everything myself, right? You have to wear all the hats. So I was wearing all the hats, but I wasn't really able to see that it was to the detriment of my, greater vision. And that brings me to the delegation story. So I was doing everything. And one of the things that I was, I was doing everything because, well, until I have a certain revenue stream, I'm not going to get any help. That was my internal dialogue. No, I haven't earned enough, so I'm not going to pay for help. So MailChimp, my email platform that I was using, was one of the things that I was just bent on learning and doing everything. Now, I had just done a seminar or webinar, something on Zoom. It was still pandemic days. And from that, I gathered about 50 emails. Precious, right? We all know how precious that is, your email list. And because I was so determined to do everything myself and to run all the MailChimp things and all the lists and tagging and segmenting and all that, which I knew not what I was doing, I ended up losing 50 emails. Like I inadvertently deleted a list or something in MailChimp because I didn't know what I was doing. And this brought tears, naturally. And my husband witnessed all of this and just simply asked the question, when will it be a good time for you to consider getting some help and to really understand the idea that one person can't do everything? It was a powerful moment of enlightenment for me, and it led me to pass along a lot of my responsibilities to my teammate, Devana. Big shout out to Devana, who makes my life magical in the business owner space. And she's just cool anyway. So that is a personal and really, it was a real watershed moment for me. Like I realized that asking for help, paying for help, hiring the right people, delegating is a critical part of growing your business, and that we can get stuck and in our own way when we sort of get rigid about, well, I can't do this until I do that. Sometimes that's necessary. I'm not saying it's not necessary at times, but within the context of my story, it was a powerful moment. So delegating, why? So I'm going to give you some why. I have my notes. By the way, when you're doing live streams, anybody, This little paper airplane situation, right? You just take your notes, fold them so that they can sit right on your keyboard. And then they're right there and you don't have to look off. Just a tip. So we're going to talk about why to do it, what happens when you do it, and when to do it. Okay? Why to do it. So many reasons, but let's just highlight a couple of them. It boosts morale when you delegate as a leader. It builds trust. And we all know that trust is the linchpin. It's just such an important component of any team. So delegating boosts trust. It improves efficiency and productivity, right? So I was listening to a podcast a month or so ago, and it was a really interesting analogy this person used about delegation. He said, imagine if you are part of a village and tigers come at night into the village and hurt people. And you want to protect your village. You are the head of the village, but you don't trust anybody else to protect the village. So you're going to stand watch every night, all night for tigers. So you stand and you're on guard. You're watching. You get tired. You're there all night. You get tired, but you don't trust anybody else to do it. What ends up happening? Then you can't do the other things that you're supposed to do to help the village along, right? And eventually you get so tired that you fall asleep and the tigers get in anyway, right? So it's kind of a silly analogy, but you get the gist of it. You can't do everything well, and you will harm efficiency and productivity if you feel like you have to have your hands in everything because you don't trust that other people can do it. Delegating also promotes enthusiasm and collaboration and innovation and all the things because people feel like their skills and their abilities are embraced, acknowledged, validated, all the things. And as the leader, it leaves you free to focus on higher value activities, right? Things that will move the organization forward. And maybe most importantly, and the other points I've already raised speak to this, think about the messaging you are sending when you delegate. And think about the messaging you're sending when you don't. When you delegate tasks and you trust and you share decision-making and all of that, you're saying, I believe you can, the collective you. I believe you can do this. You're also saying, I don't have to control everything. If you do it and it's not a success the first time, that's okay. I believe that you will formulate your own approach that will be effective. If you don't do it exactly the way I do it, important message. If you don't do it exactly the way I do it, that's okay. I trust that you'll find the formula that works for you. There's just so much good messaging in delegation. And you're also creating a positive learning coaching culture in your organization because you're supporting others, your reports, to find solutions rather than always giving the answers. I joke about this with clients, but it's kind of like parenting. You know, if you constantly tell your kids how to do things, you're saying to them subliminally, I don't think you can figure this out yourself. And they'll start to believe you. So your reports will start to believe that they can't, perhaps, or they'll feel resentful, or they'll feel lack of trust, whatever it is. None of those are great. So you want to promote a positive coaching learning culture. Okay. So what happens when you delegate? You not only create an environment where there will be higher productivity, higher trust, better collaboration, all that positive messaging. You're allowing your team to use their skills, right? Because everybody has different skill sets. We don't have the same skill set. So you're embracing the fact that the people that work with you and for you can use the skills that they bring to the table. But here's the clincher. You're also allowing them to up-level their skills. You're sending the message that I want you to learn more. I want you to stretch if it's something that they're not currently, comfortable with, a task they're not comfortable with, or something they're not familiar with. I believe you can do it. I want you to exercise your skill set. I want you to also up-level. That's great messaging for a team. Okay, so let's talk about when to delegate. All right. When you're feeling like I was feeling, which is one example, a small business example, I was overwhelmed with the day-to-day, the tactical, the logistics, the mechanics of my business. And I wasn't able to focus on the higher value activity of developing my business, right? So if you feel like you don't have the time to do all the things you need to do and you're stretched, that's a good cue that it's time to delegate. If someone else on your team has a skill set to address a task and you don't really have that skill set, but you're trying to do it because you want to control it, or you feel like it won't be done right, sit with that, unpack that a little bit, because that is an example of something that should be delegated. And if you're unable to do it, there's something else going on. It could be a fear-based thought about, everything falling apart if you don't have your hands in everything, which is another issue. Take my course. That can be dealt with. Take my course. Seriously, if that inner dialogue piece is really problematic for you, send me a message. I'll send you a coupon code. Take my course, The Fear Formula: How to Get Unstuck and Lean into Courage. Those kinds of conversations we have with ourselves can get really dug in and really difficult to change, but they can be changed. And that's what my course teaches you to do. So seriously, send me a note. I'll send you a coupon for a discount and you can take the course. You want to, career development is such an important thing for teams, for individual contributors. People want to feel like their leaders are interested in their career trajectory. And delegation is a wonderful mechanism for that, because they will, as I said, use the skills that they have, feel like they're being, valued. And then if there's blind spots or there's deficits that they have, you are saying, I want to give you these skills. I want to see you succeed in this. I want to see you try this. And even if it doesn't go well for a while, we're in this together and you will eventually take the baton from me on this. It's just all goodness. So let's quickly recap. Delegation. It's not just the jobs you don't like. As a leader, it is critical to build that trust in your team by delegating. Okay, so boosts morale, builds trust. I can't overstate that one. Improves efficiency and productivity, kind of obvious, but good to raise awareness around that. Promotes enthusiasm, innovation, cooperation. Leaves the leader free to focus on higher value activities rather than in the flowers on the tactical stuff. And it's a hugely important message for your people that I believe you can. And if you need to learn things, I believe you'll learn them. And I want you to try. And I want you to fail and then try again. So I hope that's helpful. Any questions on delegation? Well, obviously read the email. The newsletter was gave a different approach, different angles to look at it from. Subscribe to my newsletter. And tag anybody, send this, to anybody who might benefit from this live stream. You can watch the replay. But I'd love to hear your thoughts and any insights that it brought up or questions it brought up. Tune in again in a couple weeks. I will be back. Can't remember if I have a guest next time, but I will be back in 2 weeks. And I look forward to seeing you all then. In the meantime, have a good day. It is July 11th and sunny in Boston. So I hope you're all well. Talk to you soon. Thanks.